How's it going, Star Seekers? My name's Gotcake, and in this review we're going to be taking a look at Wild Tracks Racing, an off-road racing game which pits you against 49 other racers as you hurtle your way across deserts, and more deserts. So hitting the main menu we get three options: Arcade, Multiplayer and Settings. Taking a quick look at the settings menu, the only thing you can actually modify are the volume settings for the game's music and sound effects. We're also shown the game's controls on this menu and given a few tips like how to respawn, how to do a quick start and how to refill our turbo bar. Back at the main menu we can first jump into the game's arcade mode. We then get a choice of 3 stages to race on: Hard Rocks, Lost Ruins or Dinosaur Canyon. We can also check out the rankings for each stage by hitting the X button, and looking at the rankings for Hard Rock shows us that only 6 people have actually completed this race. Just like us, everybody else has a timing of 46 minutes and 40 seconds. So after selecting Hard Rock as our first race, we then get our choice of 1 vehicle. There are 4 in the game, but only 1 is currently unlocked, so we went with the Juggernaut. After selecting our sweet ride, we can then pick between automatic or manual transmission, and I went with automatic because I'm lazy. The commentator then eagerly shouts,
"Let's go!"
and then we're off into our first race. So as things get underway, we appear to be the only person racing. Now I tried to do a quick start several times, but the game was having none of it. Something that's immediately clear is that the graphics in this game, whilst not horrendous, aren't going to win any awards. Heading over our first sand dunes, we spy a big yellow bastard in the distance, and then other vehicles ahead of it. It seems that in this game, everybody gets a head start on us. So in the top right corner we can see our current position, and there are a total of 49 other racers who we need to overtake to win. Below this is a meter which displays how close to the finish line we are, with the letter P being us, slowly creeping towards the checkered flag. Now as we race, we can see at the top centre of the screen we've got a timer that counts down. We need to hit checkpoints throughout the race to top up our time. The arrow below this directs us through the track, but you can and will need to ignore this if you're going to hit the checkpoints in time. You're also going to need to use the turbo button, which drastically increases your max speed. Below our speedometer we can see the turbo bar, which fills up as we drift or perform jumps and empties as we boost. Now the controls in the game aren't terrible, but they do appear to have a slight delay when turning. The main issue is how your car reacts to bouncing about. Sometimes it just goes a bit apeshit. Terrain collision in the game is also a bit fucked up, with some objects having no collision at all, letting you drive straight through them, and others such as the canyon walls having collision boxes nowhere near the surfaces. One of the biggest issues in the game is the way in which after you crash and reverse a little, your car takes ages to accelerate despite me mashing the throttle. Now this first race is a bit of a fucking joke, and it's no wonder that only 6 people have finished it. The checkpoints in it are so tight that even if you're totally ignoring the directional arrow and taking the most direct route possible, one little crash or collision with a rival racer will result in you losing a couple of seconds and not hitting a checkpoint in time. And if you don't make a checkpoint in time, it's game over, and I saw this screen about 10 times before giving up to try the game's second track. The next track is Lost Ruins, and this one's a little bit more forgiving than Hard Rock. Checkpoints seem to be a bit more plentiful and spaced closer together. There's still some collision issues in this stage, like here where I passed straight through this pillar, but for the most part this track is raceable. I just about managed to pass the final few opponents in this race before I hit the finish line. Following my win I was shown my completion time, and after hitting continue the game's credits started to roll. It looks like only a small team was involved in making the game, but that's no excuse for it being pretty shit. After the credits ended, the commentator gleefully announced,
"You have unlocked new content!"
and a shiny new red and white shipmobile was displayed on screen. Now taking a quick look at my ranking for the Lost Ruins, I was not surprised to see that I was actually ranked 3rd in the world for this track. What an achievement. After basking in my own ego for a moment, I then went ahead and checked out the 3rd and final track in the game. I decided to give my newly unlocked vehicle, the Rhino, a go, and it appeared to be a little heavier and have more turbo than the Juggernaut, but its top speed was also much slower. Heading into the final track we see the familiar desert terrain, and a little up the way we get to this bitch of a canyon section that we need to navigate through. There are bones of dinosaurs scattered all over the joint, and after having a couple of bumps I failed to make the second checkpoint and faced a familiar game over screen again.
Game over.
Second time round I did a little better, but was still all over the place. It seemed that this vehicle's turbo meter fills much faster, but you have very few opportunities to actually use it in this track. Anyway, after a few attempts and fails I was pretty fed up with trying, and I couldn't be arsed to complete the track. I jumped into Hard Rock again to give it a final attempt with the Rhino, but again failed miserably despite turboing throughout most of the race. The last thing I did before writing this review is take a look at the game's multiplayer mode, which is offline split screen for up to 4 players. You still only get 3 tracks and your unlocked cars to choose from, and there's no other rival races in multiplayer mode. It's just you versus whatever other poor sod you managed to coax into unwittingly playing this train wreck of a game. So what did I think of Wild Tracks Racing? Well, if you haven't gathered by now, I thought the game was pretty shite, and if I could give you 2 reasons not to buy the game, it would be these. Firstly, its lack of content. 3 tracks and 4 cars is a ridiculously scant amount of content, considering the price they're trying to flog it for on the eShop. Secondly, the content that is there is near fucking impossible to complete, and even if you do complete all 3 tracks, you'll likely have very little fun doing it. The game's description in the eShop listing is talking bollocks when it says you'll enjoy the wildest and most spectacular races in natural environments. What it should have said is that you'll enjoy fuck all when taking part in dull races through 3 slightly different deserts. So now we come to rating the game. Now I rate games between 1 and 5 stars, with the shovelware stamp of approval reserved for the worst games on the eShop. This rating is based on my own personal opinion on what a game has to offer in terms of gameplay and value for money to potential buyers. And it's been a while guys, but today we get to grant Wild Tracks Racing its very own shovelware stamp of approval. I don't think I need to say anything more in an attempt to convince you not to buy this game, but if you've got money to burn and want to become the #1 Wild Tracks racer in the world, then you can get the game from the UK Switch eStore, currently discounted by a massive 25% for a mere £5.39, or from the US eShop for $5.99. And that's it for this review of Wild Tracks Racing. Drop a like if I saved you some pennies on this one, and let me know what you thought about it in the comment section below. And while you're at it, why not consider subscribing to the channel for future Switch indie game reviews like this. For now though, I just want to say a big thanks once again to everyone watching, and until next time, game on.